a little bit closer. All I wanna know is, can you come a little closer?
That's Tegan and Sara, who have released some of the best pop music to come out of this country. And this weekend, they accepted a pair of prestigious medals going to artists who've done big things by their mid-careers.
You know, for us, this isn't necessarily an award that honors one record or one song. It sort of signifies something that it's giving us appraisal of our career before and what we might have in the future, and we're really excited about that.
I'm still dancing in my chair a little bit. Tegan and Sara Quinn have been making music together for 20 years, and the Calgary duo and twins have accomplished much more in those 2 decades than being just part of the music industry. Tegan and Sara have sold over 1 million records and performed sold-out shows across the globe.
John, this is kind of a boy set. Did you know we were girls?
They've evolved from their early indie days to pop stars performing at the Oscars. But Tegan and Sara's impact goes well beyond the music they make. The twins are committed to using their popularity to create change. In 2016, they launched the Tegan and Sara Foundation to support and advocate for women and girls in the LGBTQ community.
To be strong leaders, we have to be healthy and we have to be confident.
Because of that, Tegan and Sara are the toast of Ottawa this weekend, recognized at the 2018 Governor General Performing Arts Awards. I met up with Tegan and Sara at Rideau Hall and asked them about what this award means to them. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Good to see you both.
You too.
Did you think when you were, younger women, teenagers, crafting ideas, that your music would bring you to Rideau Hall, to a Governor General? Like, was that even?
Well, the very, very simple answer, of course, is absolutely not. Back in the 90s when we started, we were in high school and it was like sort of pre-internet, smartphone, access to everything Google era. Yeah. So I don't even know if we knew what to reach for. We just knew we really wanted to play music and we wanted to be successful at that. And the fact that we didn't have to have a job and the fact that we'd gotten a record deal, like we thought we were truly successful. When people would be like, do you consider yourself successful? We were very cocky, but we were like 21 being like, yeah, we don't have a job. So I didn't imagine this.
The winner of the 2018 NAC Award, Tegan and Sara.
But certainly as our career has progressed, it's these very important countrywide things like Junos and the Governor General, like that proves to you that you really have been successful.
Does it make you feel valued by Canada, maybe, in a different way? For especially something like this, where it's really a big honor, I think.
Imagine we're like, no.
It does feel really nice, and I think, sometimes Tegan and I don't share exactly the same, perspective on things, and I think for a long time, for myself anyway, I sort of longed for this acknowledgement or recognition that...
She wanted the awards.
No, not even awards, just I think, to some degree, when we started our music career, we were sort of starting from a place where there wasn't very, very high expectations for us, even maybe for from within ourselves. Right. And so, to, like Tegan said, to have a record deal, that was a big deal.
Sure.
But, to aim much higher than that, I don't think that really came naturally to us. And so this awards, for me anyways, it sort of says it says something big about what other people think about our future. Mm-hmm. So it means a significant amount.
What I find so interesting about both of you is you're not just in a band. It's a little more complex than that, and to me that's what attracts me to the music as well. So maybe talk to me about who the music is for, because I was saying to my producer before, it's interesting. There may have been a time in my life where I would have said, this is gay women singing for gay women. Mm-hmm. That's not the case, mm-hmm. right? Like, I totally relate to all the songs. It doesn't
Maybe
even
you're
occur
gay
to
now.
me.
It happened. You're welcome for awakening you.
What would you say though about that, like that progression? It's so interesting in the music culture or the world. I don't know.
I think that's just a sign of the times. I think things have changed. Yeah. Our 20-year career has been really incredible for many reasons, but one is a front row seat to how much things have changed and evolved. And I think that when we started out in the late 90s, there was still rampant sexism and homophobia in the press that covered us. A lot of it was blatant, but a lot of it was just thinly veiled, right? It was very much in the subtext, which was, oh, they're girls and they're queer, so probably unless you're a girl or you're college-aged or you're queer, you probably won't get it.
Yeah.
We grew up on, 70s and 80s iconic pop and rock, so we grew up listening to heterosexuals sing about heterosexual
just like me,
stuff,
yeah.
just like you, and we related. So I think what's really, really magnificent about the last 20 years is how that started. We've started to really broaden the way we look at that, and music isn't necessarily aimed at one type of person. It's super cheesy, but we always say, like, we're speaking a universal language. We go all around the world, and in some places that we go, the only English the audience knows is the lyrics to sing along. And I think it brings people together in a way that's really cool and unique. So it's also one of those things where I personally, I know Sarah and I feel different, but I didn't ever really feel that marginalized to start with. Like, I did see a wide spectrum of people enjoying our music.
You agree?
What if I was like, no?
Well, she said you disagree on some of the parts. Like, did you feel at some point that you were sort of out there?
I think that the benchmarks and the sort of the tastemakers that I really valued when I was a young person, I don't think that we necessarily connected with them. And I remember that really struggling with that, especially
You couldn't identify with them?
No, I could identify with them. I don't think they identified with us. So a lot of my big influences and a lot of the things that I was really into, I knew, our band is not necessarily lumped in with those people. Bands that I really loved. I can remember, I lived in Montreal all through my 20s, and I remember loving Arcade Fire, and I remember loving that idea of Montreal has a scene, and here are all the bands that are in that scene. But I knew I wasn't in that scene, even if I liked that music, even if I was at those early shows. And I think that really bothered me. I wanted to be acknowledged somehow. And I think Tegan, she lived in Vancouver. She was a part of a really different sort of set of cultural movements.
I've always, danced to the beat of my own drum.
Yeah, but I will say, it's interesting because when I go back now and I listen to our early music, I can understand why people who were perhaps not young women or queer didn't necessarily relate to us. But we also had I had only seen a certain amount of life at that point.
Sure.
I mean, I'm 37 years old. I've traveled around the world. I've run a business. I've experienced multiple long-term relationships. We've experienced life and death, all of these things. It makes more sense to me that there would be more, that people would find us more relatable now. We are more relatable now to a lot more people. But it's also nice to be able to embrace our identity as women and queer women in a really different way now. Before it was sort of defensive. We were explaining ourselves to people. Now we feel like we are expressing something about our identity that we're really proud of. And the sort of social recognition and acceptance it feels much more broad now.
That activism, do you feel the same way being queer women in the United States as you do in Canada? I just wonder, under this administration, whether you feel maybe not as comfortable as you once did, or as you would have hoped to be.
It's a complicated question. When the election happened, we were on tour, and we were definitely really sad. We've spent the last 10 years pretty much living in America, working in America since the late 90s. We have a lot of family in the States, and we both date Americans. So we were really invested in the election. So we were really sad. I liked the idea of a female president. I thought that would be great, and I think that in the time that's passed since, we're definitely very motivated and very hyper-vigilant to make sure that we're giving back and doing as much as we possibly can to support the communities that are under attack. And specifically, obviously, women and LGBTQ people. Those have been communities that we've really focused on and causes that we've really centered in our activism and our awareness. And yeah, it's frightening and it's scary and it's complicated and it's frustrating and it makes me feel bad and sad, and I feel really bad for young people who are just seeing so much negativity in the news. And sometimes I'm like, social media, and Sarah jokes all the time that we just need an asteroid to wipe us all out and that's what we deserve. And I'm like,
thank you for telling everyone that.
She's the dark one.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not probably going to get my award now because I'm actually a nihilist. So.
No, but I think that's all there. But the other side of the coin is that America, which has been a home to us for 10 years, is a really great country.
Yes.
And the majority of people that I meet are really wonderful. And just like Canada, it's got some complications. Canada has a lot of the same problems America does, just on a smaller, more polite scale. And I think that we didn't think, let's leave. We didn't think, well, good luck, see you in a few years. We were playing the day that George Bush declared war on Iraq. Like, we've been through many bad administrations in the U.S. We've been there and witnessed these things and rallied and walked, and we've fought for marriage equality, you know, for 2 years down there, and toured around expressing to our audience to open their mind and to consider. Like, we've done it before. We'll do it again. So the flip side is that, I don't know, it kind of just feels like it always does.
Well, I think it's like so cool to recognize young women doing incredible things, not just in music, but in life. So be proud of yourselves. Like, really, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thanks.
So when Tegan and Sara did shake hands with the Governor General this weekend, they not only accepted one of Canada's highest honours in the performing arts, you also get a cash prize, $25,000 bucks, and medals from the Royal Canadian Mint. Who wouldn't want that?